you think do you think the president has the support of its people, both nationally and globally, including the diaspora?
Yes, I think the president has the support because if you look at his political party where he comes from, it's his political party, ZANU-PF, that elevated him to the position where he's at. If you look at the military were very happy with his rise to the top. If you look at the judicial courts, if you look at parliament, if you look at the business community. So the stock market in Zimbabwe went up almost 3 to 4 points the moment he got elected. And ever since then, between then and now, you've seen, if you try to get a flight to Zimbabwe today, you can't even get a flight. I'm trying to get a flight to go back home. I can't get a flight until 3 days from now, simply because there is so much excitement about this presidency, because for so long, the whole world has been holding back, waiting for the opportunity that can move into Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwe realizes itself. This is the man that has been given that responsibility. So he has excited the world. Now he has to deliver to the world, and I think he's going to get the job done.
You talk about this excitement. However, on the other side, there are some voices that are saying that it's the army that is actually calling the shots. Yeah, how accurate do you believe this is?
I don't know what shots people are talking about. What shots? What shots? What shots are there to make? What shots are there to call? There is a very simple system in Zimbabwe which is guided by the Constitution of Zimbabwe. The president has executive powers to exercise executive duties. He is exercising those duties precisely at his discretion. The army has a responsibility to be the custodians, the guardians of the Constitution of Zimbabwe. They are doing exactly that. I think what's happening, Lauren, is people are not paying attention to what they're supposed to be doing. So the president is doing his job. The military is doing their job. The war vets are doing their job. So is the party. The question is, what job are Zimbabweans supposed to be doing? What is it that you, as a Zimbabwean, what are you supposed to be doing right now? That's what people need to pay attention to. What are you supposed to be doing right now? Should you be tweeting? Should you be Facebooking? Should you be talking about who's calling what shots? Or should you be calling your own shots? I think to answer to what has my role been, I've always been the youth political maverick of my generation. I've always not apologized for being the maverick that goes ahead of everybody and says, this is where we need to go, everybody come along. And I played that role, and I believe I played it well. I believe the people of Zimbabwe also played their role well. I will support this government with everything I have. Not because I like any particular individual. I will support this presidency because we have an opportunity as Zimbabweans that we've never had before, where we can rebuild and reimagine what our country looks like. President Mnangagwa is the president in office while he is president. We all must support that presidency. If we don't like him, for whatever reason, if we don't like President Mnangagwa's tenure, we can remove him. But right now, he is the president. I am committed to supporting him with every effort. The same effort I applied to removing the last president, I applied the same effort to making sure this one succeeds. And I know that he is very committed to working with people of Zimbabwe to make Zimbabwe great.
Now, what changes can we expect to see in ZANU-PF?
ZANU-PF is going to be much harder to change than the country is going to be. I think ZANU-PF still has a lot of rot in it. If you look at the hierarchy of ZANU-PF, there are men in that hierarchy who are absolute thieves. There are men in that hierarchy who are very responsible to how we ended up in the problems we were in. And I truly hope the president will be able to deal with that. I think he's going to have a tough job on his hands. The Youth League will have to help him. The Women's League will have to help him. So I think there's a lot of rot in there that needs to be cleaned up so ZANU-PF becomes user-friendly going into the future. But as far as the country is concerned, or government is concerned, he's got a much easier task there. He's got a lot of goodwill. He's got a lot of great talent. So fixing government is going to be much easier than fixing ZANU-PF. And he has to manage that delicacy very well because he's walking on eggshells. This is the same party that 10 provinces said we want the First Lady to be Vice President. The same 10 provinces said we want him to be President. The same 10 provinces said we want Mugabe to be President, we want Mugabe to go. I care about the fate of the Zimbabweans, and I think the fate of the Zimbabweans now is, if there is any Zimbabwean who had an ambition or a dream and they had to park it on the side because the government wasn't conducive, now you can re-dream again. You can go and take that ambition, you can go and take that dream, and you can realize your fate in a reimagined Zimbabwe. If there's a Zimbabwean out of Zimbabwe, whether here in South Africa or anywhere else in the diaspora, whoever had an idea of how we can solve the problems of our generation, now is the time we can finally take those ideas and put them to fruition. In fact, I'll conclude by saying this. There is nothing wrong with Zimbabwe. Nothing wrong with Zimbabwe at all. That the people of Zimbabwe cannot solve if you give them the chance to.